Hello. We're gonna get started here working on some more game development. I'll just need a minute to get ready to go. Hello. Let's see what we're doing today. Looks like it's all working. Yeah, go for it. So let's see exactly where we were. Because I got my notes, and yesterday we were working on physics, and we were having a lot of problems. But I think we actually started to make some progress at the end there. And one of the things was we actually figured out a few things that we were doing wrong. So we kind of ran into a pretty big wall there when we were moving our fat sack around. And we're getting some really weird collision stuff. Yeah, basically issue was there. And basically the numbers we're getting back from like the raycast were just wrong. Like, and we're trying to figure out what exactly was going on with it. And it's basically like, okay, what are we doing wrong? Like, this physics engine can't be completely messed up. I mean, it's physics. Like, it works. You know, they're not just a bunch of 3-year-olds, playing with Lego blocks here. Physics is a whole company. What's going on? And and one of the big things here, if you can see it, was we weren't rotating our box. So you can kind of see it here now. Is you can actually see, like, if I do show collision, you can see that the box for the raycast and the box for the collision are the same now. So that's good. And also that our fat sack is actually touching the ground. Like, if you look right there, that is actually the box actually touching the ground. That's what it's supposed to be doing. Like, that's how he's supposed to be walking. So now he's actually on the ground properly. And as you can see here, with our raycast, as soon as we hit like a little, like we're trying to move normal to the surface here, which is to the left here, this direction, you can see this little seam. All of a sudden we can't move, which is exactly what's supposed to happen. Because we're on the surface and we can't move to the left because we're getting blocked. But we can move up until we run into the next seam. And that is absolutely what should be going on. So now that we've actually got our character on the ground, actually, we can start doing stuff. Because you need to start from a frame of correctness to be able to continue work, and we were not actually working correctly. We tried a few things and none of them worked. And so let's get back into it. So update locomotion on ground. It'll be a little slow getting right back into it, but we'll do what we can. So let me know if there are any issues with the stream, if the audio is all sorts of screwed up, or the music is too loud, or the music sucks. You can always say that. Or if I should turn the music off. So what exactly are we doing here? So do a sweep test in our direction in which the normal is rotated into the direction of our movement. If this test has no collisions, we move to the new location. Do another sweep test downwards and move to the ground if it's close enough and snap to it. If we cannot snap to the ground, then we set ourselves to be in the air. So let's go make sure that a few of these things are working properly. So what should be working properly right now is moving down a slope. Moving up a slope should not. And moving down a slope that is not leveling out. We should be able to move down a slope which is flat, and we should also be able to move down a slope which is curving down. So we're going to move over to our test area. So we want to get right up top here. So when we start on this, we should just start nicely on the ground. And we can move down the hill to certain locations. Looks like we do get stuck. That looks like a new block there. I mean, should be able to just run over it a little bit. And yeah, going down the hill, we're working. We get stuck on those tiny little things, don't we? So what we want to do is we want to move a couple of these down so that we can see what happens when we get to a very steep slope and test that out. Well, this is not a new test surface. This is the old one, just a different part of it. And yeah, it's a little bit tedious messing around with all these things, but we gotta do it. We gotta do it if we're gonna make this game good. And we'll see what happens when we actually get all the way down there. So let's take a look. still running. We're still running. Looks like things are working properly. Oh, we got stuck on a tiny edge there. Come on, get over. Get over it, fat sack. Jump. Jump with your non-existent legs. You bastard. So those traces are looking proper. As we go farther, slope increases, and all of a sudden, let's see, what is happening here? Okay, so we are unable. The starting position is negative 64,000. Our wanted velocity is to the left. Our surface normal is -1, -0. So that is, our surface normal is straight off to the left. And our movement direction is straight down, is what it's saying. So we are stuck on the wall here to the right, is what it's saying. So why are we stuck on the wall to our right? Let's go take a look. Why is our window freaking out? Yeah, Slate freaking out on us. That's great. Slate just likes to crash. So we'll get back over to that place. And yeah, it's going to be definitely the, basically we went off of this thing and we need to just double check exactly why we're getting the, because we're sweeping our component in a direction, and that direction is down. So we got to go figure out exactly why we're doing the things. Thank you, Joseph Cooley, for following. Welcome. We're working on some Dashkin development. I work with Adam Phillips, who you can go catch his stream, Cluid. He's on right now as well, working on the animation portion of this game. Well, let me just go ahead and fix this surface real quick. Let's make sure that's working. Oh, you actually set up a multi-stream for us? That's like sort of professional. What is going on here? We're just kind of making some test geometry here to make sure we're working here. And if you don't know much about me, I'm a game developer. I'm located out of Washington State in the United States. So I'm on West Coast time. And while I am not an Unreal expert, I've been doing game development for the last actually 8 years, I think. But I've been primarily a server developer. I haven't really been working on the gameplay code, so a lot of the gameplay stuff is, while not, it's code, so it's familiar. But I'm not going to be super expert on absolutely everything with gameplay. But my strengths are more in like making sure you set up like all your projects properly and everything like that. So you're gonna see me make a lot of dumb mistakes with gameplay stuff, but hopefully you guys can learn with me, and we can be awesome together. All right, so here we are. We're now stuck on that right wall. So we're gonna see exactly why we are stuck on this right wall. All right, so we are updating our movement. Our start position is that we are sweeping down. We are colliding with the floor in 1.3 units. The surface normal it's looking like it's a negative 0.76 and a z of that. So we're looking at like our first normal is actually the box below us shooting at an angle, which is what we want. So we actually want to move normal to that, and we're not moving normal to it. So what exactly are we're doing here? We're basically saying if the surface normal y direction is greater than the surface normal z direction. So this is what we were doing before, is we're basically going through and we were saying, okay, well, the surface normal, the surface that we're on, I'll just pull up my drawing. My super amazing. Yeah, Isha knows what he's talking about. Basically, the slope here, the y direction, so the left direction is greater than the like up and down direction, and so what we're doing is, since we're kind of stuck right here with another block, we're actually going to take this surface normal and we're going to cast in that direction and see what we hit first. And we actually hit this little corner right here, so that's why we're getting a normal of this. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that condition, because that was kind of like some debugging stuff. We were trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So we still want to move normal to the ground we're on, which is what our original algorithm was doing. We were just trying to hack around Unreal 4, not returning the correct normals for us, which was a big problem. So let's see if we're moving the hack, because now we're rotated properly. Maybe the math is going to be right, because it was giving us just garbage data, which was not what we wanted. Like when we were hitting a normal over there, was like the normal to the surface, which is the vector coming off of the surface flat. It was just wrong. It was like, what the hell's going on here? As soon as we're at like a critical slope, all of a sudden math goes to hell. So we're going to see if that's because our rotation was wrong on our object, because we're now rotated properly. It's probably the fastest FatSec has ever moved. So everything's still looking good. Our angle's getting much more extreme. This is extreme wall climbing with FatSec. And we can go up and down the slope as we expect. And are we going to hit the ground? And we hit the ground. Alright, so good. Oh god, and we just, we have no air control. Yeah, well, you seem to know what you're talking about, Ishu, which is good. Keep knowing what you're talking about. So it looks like our normal stuff is working properly now, so we don't need a lot of this hacky BS, which is great. So okay, we've got our first thing going here. Do a sweep test. If there's no collision, snap to the ground below us. As you saw, we snapped to the ground below us immediately. Because right now we've got our ground snap distance at like some ridiculously huge numbers. We just thunk, right onto the ground. I'm gonna throw some of these windows off the side here. So, okay, we got that. So what are you doing next? Do a sweep test downwards and do that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, if there is a collision, we're going to move as far as possible in the direction of the motion. And then move to be on solid ground. So, okay. Let's just double check that we got, and let's also start kind of segregating these bits of logic up here so we don't just go crazy. Kind of divide them out. We pretty much don't need some of these things, but yeah, I'm just going to remove some of the code that we're not using just in case we start thinking it works. Alright, so we're going to get our vector here. So we're setting the rotation of our velocity, so this is the direction of movement. So what we're going to do here is this movement direction vector, which is declared at the top. We are going to say, we're going to make a new function here. Yeah, and if the stream is like super boring or whatever, well, we're doing real work on Dashkin, so I'm not trying to be like super entertaining on the stream. I'm more just trying to get work done and kind of show the process off to people who care about kind of how the game dev process works. And sadly, the game dev process is super boring most of the time, unless we're compiling, in which case I can tell stories, and everybody loves my stories, especially me, because I love hearing myself talk. I actually don't mute the mic for myself. I just like listen to myself as I talk. It entertains me. I'm lying about that, by the way. Alright, so we're going to do a protected... What are we trying to do? We're trying to rotate a vector. So I think we should actually throw that in the physics utils. We should do like another little section here for vector math, and we should do like public, and it'll be like static, f vector, and we should do like rotate vector about rotate vector x, and we're going to pass in like the original vector, passing in a reference. It should be a constant reference. And then we want an angle. So, or we want a direction. I think we want a direction. It should be like rotate vector to surface. Actually, we're just rotating it left or right. So like rotate vector to direction. And we're gonna have like a little physics enum at the top here. And just be like, which way, left or right? So it'll be E Dashkin physics direction. Because I like trying to make some of these functions that actually make sense to a reasonable person. Like this will just be dir right and dir left, right? Like if we're trying to rotate a vector, we're either going to rotate it to the left or right based on the normal for the movement. So we'll have a physics direction, and then we'll also make a little function here which takes a an angle, and we'll just call ourselves when we do it. I'm an interesting person. All right, well, thank you. So we want a physics direction. So direction. And then we're going to want rotate. Whoops. Rotate vector by angle. And these are just a bunch of shortcut functions. They're not full 3D stuff, so. Yeah, you can see we had this like get corrected position for primitive, Like we're trying all sorts of crazy crap to figure out like what the hell is going on. And we should probably just remove that. Because it didn't work. Because it was wrong. Yeah, so we want to actually like take out all this crap work we did because it's wrong. Or is it wrong? Yeah, it was wrong. It was definitely wrong. But what if it was right? And we're deleting work. And we'll just do it all over again. Because that's what we do a lot, is we do work over again because we're dumb and wasteful. Why are you getting confused? Well, you can just be confused, Visual Studio. You do that. You do you. Alright. So, rotating by an angle is going to basically be this guy right here. So this is going to be switch on the direction. We're going to do case, physics direction, dir right, left. And all the music I think I've got in here is pretty much like old music from Newgrounds, so I have absolutely no idea if any of it's copyrighted in terms of like actual people that would strike a channel or something. So we'll just find out. I think this is like music I pulled off of Newgrounds back in middle school. Remixes of random crap. I think that's pretty much how everybody is, Karakan. Like everybody's got big ideas and stuff like that, and actually like putting your ideas into practice and reality is really just, there's only so much time in the day. So okay, left is going to be -90. So if only we all had that magical machine where we could just like pause time and sleep, and then unpause time and then get back to work. That would be amazing. Alright. Yeah, I didn't see like, I think it's more of like YouTube that's totally a lot more angry about everything than Twitch. Twitch seems a lot more chill about things and stuff. So we're going to rotate by our angle. So it's going to be our transform, and our transform is going to, we are going to transform the past in vector to the new vector. So f vector new direction equals transform vector, and we're going to set that to 0, normalize it, and return new direction. Super simple, right? And this is still getting all angry about something. Well, did I forget something at the top here? Oh, it looks good. Not bad. Well, let's go ahead and compile this just to appease the gods of compiling. Actually, no. Where are we using velocity? We're actually not using velocity anywhere, are we? This was just a temporary one. So basically what we want to do is if, we weren't even using velocity. You need external expertise to do things. Well, that's what friends are for, right? Or hiring other people. You need minions. That's what you need. You need a bunch of flunkies to do all the other things. So get to work. Find those flunkies. And we're using our surface normal direction vector times our movement distance is going to be our wanted velocity y times delta t. Alright, so basically if our velocity.y is less than or equal to 0, no, just mathematical absolute value. Fmath.absolute is less than 0.0. Then we're going to return delta t, and delta t in this case is like returning that we fully simulated all the motion for the frame. Because we don't want to move anywhere, and we don't have any velocity to go anywhere, so let's not go anywhere. And this thing is going to be equal to, that one's probably most likely copyrighted. We'll move that. We're going to set that equal to our physics utils. Rotate vector to direction. And we are going to go either left or right. And what we want to do is we actually want to take our surface normal, and we want to basically do it based on the velocity y. So Adam wants to know why the website is down. Error establishing database connection. Well, we can take a look at that, can't we? Fine. This stream is about server maintenance as well as about working in Unreal 4. So if you ever wanted to see what happens when somebody fixes servers, well, you're in luck. So let's see what we've got here. We need the correct user for this thing. So let's see. Sudo service memcached status. Looks like memcached is down. Okay, so if you're going to start it, so the database should be back online. It says it's running. Oh, memcache. What the hell is wrong with me? We didn't need memcache. What the fuck? What am I doing here? Alright, we don't need memcache. Stop memcache. Still service MySQL D. Jesus. Status. Okay, MySQL is dead, but the subsystem is locked. Okay, that's some bullshit. Yeah, I just restarted Apache. So MySQL D, let's just go ahead and start that and see what it does. And I'm going to look up what exactly this thing's pissed about. So the website's back online. So that's the first thing you do when you're doing So the first thing you do when fixing servers is you make sure that the Twitch stream is working properly so everybody can see how awesome you are because you just brought the website back online. The second thing you do when you're fixing servers is you fix the damn server to start with, and then you figure out what the hell's wrong with it. So now that we fixed it, let's see why it exploded, because that's important. So let's Google it, because that's what any good sysadmin does. MySQL dead, but subsys is locked. Yeah, why is this pissed off? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go look for the database logs. So where are MySQL database logs? Or maybe I could just boot up Dolphin Bench and take a look at it. We love looking at databases. Maybe we can view the logs just in the feature requires remote host access. Click the wrench icon to configure remote host access. SSH login based remote host management. Oh, I can totally set this up. This is pretty cool. So I haven't done this before. Usually, like, what you would do, since we're running on AWS, is you'd run your database on RDS. But because we're super scrub lords and we want to save a bit of money for him, target host is configured to be Windows. Native remote host only available on Windows. Do not use remote host management. All right, so we can't use remote host management. 6060. Yeah, I'll give you a peek of the data. It's there's some data. Oh no, it's gone away now. You can pause the video and see that those were all the comments for like people from 2 million years ago. Which are all public comments. Anyway, the big thing that we need to do is we need to figure out where the frickin' server logs are. Well, let's just take a look. cd site, ls cdb, ls cd mysql, ls. There's nothing in MySQL. So let's see exactly where these things are. It's just not always easy to sniff around on absolutely everything. I think it's in like var log. So let's look there. And there is a MySQL D log. Alright, so it is in var log. So let's see, what's it saying? Database was not shut down normally. Alright, so waiting for background threads to start. NODB heap disabled. Fatal error, cannot allocate memory for the buffer pool. NODB function returned error. Storage engine failure. Unsupported engine storage. Are we just out of space or something? Let's see. Use 37%. That's not a problem. Let's see. Our memory, we've got. We've got 560k used. This is how much we have free. So we have plenty of free memory. I know this is what everybody wants to watch. They want to watch, you know, fixing databases. This is the most amazing thing. What's the issue with the forums? Are they all which forums? I guess would be the question. What are you talking about? Because if it's the new forums should be pretty good. The old forums, the big thing there was that the other forums, the ones that are old, is I'm working on a space game, getting old. What kind of space game, Brenton? The old forums are running on like PHP 5, and they're like super out of date. And I was like, Adam, seriously, like, you can't be running forums where people log in that on like super old, like crappy PHP. Like, everybody's gonna get their passwords stolen by Russian hackers. And he's like, oh shit. So probably gonna be coming up with a better solution than, you know, having everybody's passwords stolen by Russian hackers. We'll bring the forums back online when that happens. Yeah, it looks like the same thing has happened on. So we're supposed to create a swap file. This problem has happened with an OTRS server after I tried to update to launch a package. The solution is copy for safety, delete MySQL log, then close all services. Let's see, we need to look up this memory issue real quick. Can I not visit the forums without logging into Amazon? X-Wing game, awesome. Seems this error you're receiving is likely due to lack of sufficient memory. I've looked at your instance. You have a T1 micro. This is a very limited instance type in terms of internal resources. Accordingly, two things I'd recommend. Upgrade your instance type and manually set up swap space with your instance to mitigate limited resources. Okay, so we're supposed to set up swap space for this thing. Alright, so it's looking like what's going on with the new website is we put it on a toaster oven, and we're not going to be able to put it on a toaster oven. It needs a little bit more memory than a toaster oven. So what should we upgrade it to? Like a bread maker? Or we could throw it on a washing machine. That might help. Or we could like duct tape another toaster oven to the original toaster oven. I mean that could work too, right? Like, right? I'm a real server engineer. I do things with servers. And by servers, I mean toasters. Let's make it a bakery. We'll make it a batch. All right. So the question is, what's the EC2 pricing? Like, cause we're running this thing on, not the best instance in the world. We're trying to, put this on something. I think it's on a T2 micro, so it doesn't have like a hell of a lot of anything. It's got 1 gigabyte. We could throw it on a T2 small for twice as much, or we could do this swap file stuff. And the issue is if we throw swap file stuff on for this, like how the swap file works is basically it's going to, if you run out of memory in your instance, you're going to use the swap file on disk, kind of like that'll be your extra space for RAM, right? And the problem there is it's slow as shit. So like what'll happen is we'll go into swap file, and immediately what's going to happen is freaking like you go into what's called swap hell, and you're like going back and forth from reading stuff out of RAM and reading stuff out of disk, and everything performs like it's running on a toaster instead of on an actual machine that does like actual things like calculates numbers. So we're going to also look at RDS pricing and see if we should just move this to an actual like other thing. And so we could do like a micro. Yeah, so if it's MySQL for a micro, it's like 1.7 cents per hour versus, what's the difference between a tier 2, a T2 small, and so it's 1.7 cents per hour versus like 11 cents per hour is, no, 1.1 cents per hour versus 1.7. So it is less expensive by like 0.05 cents or something. You're bored? How do we let him post a pic? Like, is there like some sort of thing I have to do? Because I know links are all disabled and crap, and I'm not super Twitch expert. So like allow or something. Deleted link, yeah. You can repost it. All right. Well, I don't see it. Do I need to mod myself? I'm gonna mod myself to my own channel. Oh, I have added myself as a mod now. Okay, that makes more sense. I can't moderate my own channel. Why isn't that an option? Oh, cool. So you've got this this sweet domes going on here. Level 1 land. Awesome. Fly around and everything. Reminds me like a town out of Dragon Ball Z with all the different towers and pillars. Yeah, but I wasn't actually a moderator of the room, so I wasn't actually seeing the links that got deleted by people. So what I think we should do here is we should migrate the instance from a tier T2 micro to a T2 small. So why don't we go ahead and ask Adam if we can take the website down for a second. And we'll also do a few things. Because migrating to another instance type is actually pretty simple in AWS. Yeah, we're running out of a T2 micro. We do the monitoring. We want to look at memory. CPU credit balance is fine. Alright, so we've actually got like tools.bitey. So the cool thing is I got like database backups and all that set up. So I can actually do a snapshot here real quick. And let's that's pretty funny. Like I haven't even added Adam as a friend on Twitch, so he's now a friend. We're running MySQL just because it's easier to deal with, more standard. And that's what was running on the old site. So there's one thing, we can migrate it, or we can like set MySQL database memory limit. Let's see. So let's see, what's the price difference here? It's like 0.012 times 24 times 31 versus 0.023 times 24 times 31. So the difference is So I'm just asking Adam if he wants to pay the difference. All right, he's like, go for it. So we're just gonna ask Adam if it's okay to take the website down for a minute, and I'll also ask him, is it okay if everything explodes? All right. Well, I took a backup snapshot here just a second ago. Just make sure that that actually worked. Because if you're gonna start blowing the hell out of stuff, we have not reached our max snaps. Creating snapshot for volume. Snap is this guy, and let's make sure our snap exists. It totally exists. So we're making snapshot for volume 06 blah, which is the tools server, and then we're making snapshot for 08 blah. I'm not showing all the Amazon stuff on there. You have to pay over $9,000 to get your game on Steam. I hope not. All right, so basically, we're on EC2 for Amazon, and what we're gonna do is, if we stop an instance, we can then change the backing instance type. So yeah, there's not really much of this I can actually show because there's too much sensitive information on there. So I'm gonna stop the Bitey site real quick. I'm gonna first do like sudo service mysql d stop and sudo service hdb stop. So we've stopped the database, we've stopped the website. Then we're going to go ahead and stop the server itself. Any data on the ephemeral storage of your instances will be lost. Well, we can always go back to the old website if I just screw up the new one. Yeah, I know why the... How do you say your name? Yvankster? Yeah, Yvankster. Basically, there's like the Steam Greenlight stuff's going away, and it's like Steam Direct or whatever the hell is going on with that thing. So, and they're trying to come up with like a dollar value or something for how much they want everything to cost. And I don't really know exactly what they're going to be doing when we ship, but we'll deal with it. If we have to front down, a huge chunk of money or something, we'll just have to do that. Alright, so our instance is stopped, so what we can do is we can change the instance type, and we're going to change it from a T2 micro to a T2 small, and hit apply, and then we're going to start the instance back up. And hopefully everything worked properly, and we set things up properly as a proper person should, and didn't just completely screw the universe. And if we did, well, we'll just have to fix the universe. Which isn't a problem, right?